Welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective as we move forward with our lovely topic on pure love, pure emotions, the pure depths of you. In our short, we got to chit chat a little bit about that. It's dash 5D Mystic Spiritual Self-Help Mindful Living Life. So when you are a self-agent, your higher self, you're living the restorative embodiment, and that's with self-awareness, accountability, and regulation skills. You will love in a consistent burning fire from within you that never dies, because it never dies out, never goes offline, because you're anchored in the ventral energy. And that's what I got to find out through all my attachment trauma educational courses, that any one of us can have metabolized our child charge parts right here and maintain the higher self. And that's great. So for me, God, for example, is discerning, wise, good judgment, equanimous, calm-centered, love, which is that lovely oxytocin gene hormone, because number one, that's what I got taught in my Christian Catholic upbringing from my catechist, my same household. And I can also include people. So if sciences wanted to come in, what they would say, Robert Sapolsky with determined says we have no free will. So what he would say is something along the lines of, and again, don't paraphrase me because I'm not really using him. I have attachment trauma education to the back of my hand and I'm continuing it, and so I can paraphrase anyone I would want. But really is, I have lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel, after I shared with him my 3-year-old story, letting me know that I was already a differentiated self. And then my hypnotherapy sessions, all of the ones that I've done so far, reminding me of exactly how amazing my journey has been. So I let you know, nobody suppresses, oppresses, and or has me down. Pure essence of vulnerability, my gosh, is it beautiful. And the pure essence of love is. So my functional child adult, she never died, and that's why you get to hear about what self-empowered, enlightening, woo-woo pseudoscience lady right here, and again, podcast host, content creator, and mentor does have to say about you can be the pure energy, the pure love that anyone who you will have heard in spiritual land talks about. You won't be if you do not anchor in your ventral energy, if you do not have a higher self in the lead, if you do not get an integrated brain. And that's because there's a bunch of charges out there with their bystanders wanting to punish each other, and none of them are Lucifer. They're all like those 11-year-olds that began to become mean. Yes, and I didn't do the let me be mean with you. I learned in 3 years. I was stupid, like all the grown-ups had said. I do not love any of you less. I love you all the same, and that's because I wasn't yet polyamory, but it's not a surprise that I am, because I also got sat down when I said I love all people equally, and to this day when people say, who do you love more? Excuse me, that's a trick question maybe, but no, really it doesn't. Not. I love like the art of loving, Eric Fromm. It's a verb. Myself is also a verb because I'm an integrated brain. They both consistently expand because verbs consistently go through motions. And it's not because of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, because I'm a securely attached, non-traumatized person, because I can self-regulate in the absence of another mammal in my ventral vagal state. And that's it. And so my ventral energy is on to the point of where someone's like, you can't always be on. And as they spoke these words to me, I contemplated, you are not always on. But Deb Dana said she tells her trainees to anchor in ventral energy because it's our body's resource, and the people who come to you will need you to be anchored in ventral energy because their body doesn't know how to. You remind their body of the resource that is within them. And their body's trying to get home to their true body, which is the restorative embodiment. They won't do that if you don't know how to be anchored consistently in your higher self with your prefrontal cortex on, curious, open, accepting, and loving, which is why you're present. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, for the acronyms. Also tuning to that other nervous system, which is, I'm a guitar string, so are you. And resonating, because I'm not affected, because as Dr. Daniel Siegel suggested to me when I asked him, hey, Dr. Dan, so I'm pretty sensitive to, when I'm working with my mentorees and stuff, and my oversoul, and I didn't really mention too much about my mystic life, but I said, I was wondering, do you have any tips? And he said, Maria, I think you need to differentiate more. Yes, I don't call my brothers and sisters energy vampires or dark auras, because those who do human suffering, apparently they follow the truth of Buddhism, which is that this life, this existence that you're living is full of suffering. According to a master called Shaolin Master or something like that, that's exactly the number 1 truth of Buddhism. And then the number 2 is that it lies in ignorance, hatred, and something else. And I'm like, those of us from Christianity, the ones who know that Jesus died for our sins, he suffered for us, we're respecting that by not suffering ourselves, or at least, excuse me, that's my interpretation as a child who has the higher self Ventral vagal. I'm like, he suffered. I won't suffer. Don't worry, God. I gotcha. I got it. I know vulnerability. Nobody is a physical threat. Oh, I forgot to mention. So, as Robert Sapolsky points out, with determined, no free will. And as Dr. Daniel Siegel points out, so when I'm able to differentiate, as he said, you'll be able to then be in a room and pick up on all of that which that other guitar string is doing, which will help them on their spiritual self-help and or mindful self-help personal development journey, which is what I do as a mentor. And then for the content creation, I share those pieces of information. And when people don't believe it and they call it pseudoscience, yes, I'm actively pseudoscience woo lady, but they're not. And so I learn from smart human beings. Love is a burning fire within you that never dies out when anchored in ventral energy. And when people say, I want to do personal self-help, you know that they want to join the Zen master with he has laundry and not the enlightenment frequency. That they also will believe they've been determined, so they do fate and karma, and therefore they name their children Dharma, because they are actively the same hypocrites like my facade friend that I will have noticed by the time I'm an 11-year-old, wondering why you're pretending that you're not vulnerable and you're acting mean on purpose because of that. Wait a minute, that's called the safety behavior because you're threatened. Shit. I have words in my mouth that I learned, and now I know as an 11-year-old what I was witnessing. And why in my hypnotherapy session, they weren't mean like monsters, these 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. No, they were all just laughing, and I don't want to play. You don't care when you make me scared. You make jokes that can make me sick and end up in the hospital. That's, again, not funny. The grown-ups did tell me that you do stupid things, and I did stupid things too, but you're actively continuing them. I actually learned how I don't find it actually nice to be mean to anyone and to be people who don't have each other's back. And so I admit it. I was stupid. And I can be crooked and unkind too. I won't continue it. So on that note, I'm going to pick my herd, because apparently in the 3 or 4 years of 11, 12, 13, 14, I just saw consistently the same shit. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with the cowards. No, I didn't have that word in my mouth yet, but I said I'm picking because you all pretend, and I'm not pretending, and I don't want to waste my time. I have short life, and I have places to be. And so when that happens, here's the compassionate mind. Okay, and yeah, love, thank you, Sadhguru, is not a transaction, but a burning flame within you. When it burns the core of who you are, it is liberating. Our core doesn't really get burnt for those of us who consistently participate. So the compassionate mind, this is Deborah Lee, is developing the human's natural capacity to be deeply helpful to themselves, which I already was as a kid growing up, because I have my higher self and I didn't exile or bring shame to my vulnerability when those 11, 12, 13, and 14-year-olds did all the things that I still see adolescents talking to me about, and I still to this day will bring forth the same 11-year-old that was there, 16-year-old, which is be smart, stay safe, don't be stupid, and please remember, if they jump off a bridge, don't do it. I learned. And that was the one time I said, dude, you don't like heights. Why? You're stupid, Maria. Don't ever do this again. Really, peer pressure. Come on. Like, you learned about this a little. This was the one of those last few stupid things I did. So yes, am I ashamed? I can be ashamed, but again, I'm discerning, wise, good judgment, and equanimous, common-centered, and loving. Thank you, God, so much. He takes me as I am, and He will be the one who judges my sins. And believe me, when people want to bring to me that polyamory is sinful, I think Lucifer is nowhere to be found. But your trauma history surely tells me, your punishment question, your analysis seems that you have one of those brains that I'm pretty sure Robert Sapolsky would be able to describe from one of his studies with these chimpanzees or whatever that he did, which are the erroneous alpha male people, yeah, and alpha females. They actively need to be handled. Oh, when I think of that, I'm like, wow, who you handling? You got a child somewhere going on? Because that just sounded like you think you can train me. I'm not a dog, and that's one of the reasons why I feel for dogs, because if I were a dog and I would want to be my own dog, I'd be like, look, you ain't human, you human, you ain't dog. No matter how many humans come to me to tell me that dogs need training, I just hold myself and say, I'm not a trainer. I'm not a dog. I'm a human. I'm not going to get into it. It's really not my business, so I leave it alone. And also because I'm biased. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch. It's because I love freedom. And that's freedom as a self-agent. Thank you, Mother. I'm not joking. Freedom. And that's what you have with the lovely, honest human beings, polyamory and monoamory, because of authenticity and transparency. So when someone says, can you love someone more than others? No. Can you create a bond that is more special? I mean, here's the word special. It's really, our amygdala alerts us to that which is of interest to us. And then it will be what we do together that will create the bond we're creating. But love is a constant. So it's really, are we enriching? And the more we enrich, and the more we want. It's kind of like anything, right? You nurture it, yes. And nurturing doesn't mean vague sentences. You actively will have to have physical attraction, emotional maturity, because otherwise it ain't real a relationship. I see plenty of people doing trauma time together on fish business. It's really unfinished fishy business. It's not beautiful to see karma and fate in the act, because it's all codependent, low self-esteem, indirect communicators, passive aggressive, and all that. And so I'm like, wow, hey, Terry, John, Jim, Terry, what are they called? Tom and Jerry. Have fun, those are the other two that I think of, because they just play cat and mouse, and that's not really funny at all, especially as you get older. And then they keep wanting to blame Lucifer or genders for that, which is instead a very, very specific thing called get trauma out of the homes with parenting stuff and informing them of a third attunement, repairing ruptures. But excuse me, not all parents believe in compassionate minds or compassionate hearts, or integrity for that matter. In fact, they think integrity means let me punish you and do the punishing and manipulate you. They don't know that our nervous systems know what you're doing. So I will learn your manipulative tactics by being a nervous system that learns dysregulation and actively modulation. So when I give the silent treatment to someone, it'll be because I will have learned it from you. Yeah, that's not a good copycat, is it? So again, charges and people who act with the whole I want a group. Yes, groups and trending topics are for teenagers who are copying each other. Peter Pan, Lost Boys, and the Silverback is an ignorant group of people who I don't look up to, like I didn't look up to the pretenders of 11-year-olds. Higher self right here, and it's I'm vulnerable and emotional. Why? I forgot. So, personality patterns and attachment. I actively don't need to bond. I will tell you if I like you and I don't. And that's because I got rejected at 4 and I got explained that different doesn't mean better or worse. And that we're all different. And so, I don't get my heart broken in a way of defective when I get rejected at 4 years of age. They took my twin around the block. I got home. 8 years of age, my twin disowns me. I'm just saying. And I didn't lose my sense of self-worth. No, I actually, as explained again and again, different is okay, not good or none of that. Don't follow the stupid ones. And remember, whose life is it? Yours. So who's going to get bitten behind the behind? No, my mother doesn't do that language. You. It's your life, not mine. It's your life, not mine. It's your life, not mine. She said it so many times. Like, yep, it's my life, not yours. Woohoo! And there you go. So nobody can suppress or oppress or take away my freedom. And when I hear somebody thinking it, no, they feel freedom taken away because they don't have self-agency. I do. Which is why they don't like me. You're not taking my side. Why? I didn't realize I was supposed to take your side. I don't take sides. I'm the weak one. I think all people are weak when I think of their childhood and that their unkind behavior comes from their childhood. So I have a position. It's called I'm not God, but I do know that God is discerning, equanimous love, like my lovely primary caregiver was as I was growing up. I know how to use my oxytocin gene hormone, and I'm not doing trauma time, and I think you're offline now with structural dissociation. Although you think you're online, I can tell that your stereotypes and your generalizations are really not going very well. So the compassionate mind is developing the human's natural capacity to be deeply helpful to themselves. It breaks the maintenance cycle of the critic because it engages in the compassionate voice as opposed to the critic. So I don't know about this critic stuff because I didn't do that. I did it once. You're all alone. I said, you're not. You got a mom, you got a twin. What are you talking about? You're just different, Maria. And that's why it's beautiful to be able to love and to know what integrity is. Where are you, Sadhguru? Let's see. He has another quote for us. And I have so many lovely quotes from him. Integrity. It is not about the action, but its purpose. Yes, your purpose matters. And the action matters too, according to the law. But the purpose and the intent, which you can't prove, matters. So when I have functional child adults, I know that they care about the bigger picture. When I got a charge, they don't. They actively care about their group like the flat earthers. The question is, are you doing what you do for the larger well-being or your personal benefit? Okay, so any one of those self-serving facades who are pretenders are doing it for their own benefit. That's why I found out that they will continue to fulfill their self-serving prophecies of their own, and like my facade friend, they only come to you because they are used to it. So pause self people are self-serving. I'm self-serving in a different way. I will take ownership, accountability, and regulation seriously. So when my love is brought to the forefront, I will say love is equal for all. And as they sat me down and made me choose who I would save until they would not leave me alone, they said, the earth is ending. Who do you save? My little sister, because she's the younger one, and God gave us a gift called life, and so I will save her so she can live more. Today, as a 45-year-old woman, I would say, if they asked me again, I'd say, hey sis, so do you want to live longer? Because, you know, if you don't, I actually do want to live longer, because I don't suffer life unlike those. Apparently the Buddhist truth is that life is suffering, and that this existence is suffering, and that's for all of them and not for me. Again, Jesus suffered for my sins. I thank him. I have the prefrontal cortex, not the temporal junction. And also, I don't use cliche sentences to talk about shit when it happens. When things go down in life, yeah. So love. Who do you love more? No. Okay, that's not nice. So even with my own household, we tease. I'm not going to get specific, but I know if my mom watches, she knows what we tease. And that's my younger sister and I. And my twin. We all tease together. Let's all have a good time. But my point is, when it comes to partners, lovers, this is where I really, really have to say that I love being able to talk about my polyamory journey with polyfidelity, as you all know, but also with the poly enough. Wow, serious. That is not a securely attached human being. You don't even know love yet. I mean, really, get it together. First, get secure attachment. Then maybe evaluate the polyamory thing, because you're giving us a bad name. And having charges isn't going to help either. You're not accepting of us. That doesn't help to be able to. So when they call you a whore or a masochist, or they say, hey, so can I fuck you? And you say no, and you laugh at that because you're like, no, of course not. So I can kiss you? No. So you'll marry me? No again. So you'll marry all of... No, I don't know why these questions. No, none of this. Actually, it's really a personal, private conversation. But okay, let me have fun with it. So when you have empowered human beings, you can have fun with words, and that's why we love to love and live and laugh and learn, expand, and so you don't ever turn off because you have no sensitive ego to the way of a 1-year-old, 3-year-old, because my child parts, I take care of them. So I don't have defense mechanism like I did as an 11-year-old, which is the pure fear, pure emotions. I still don't have an issue. But again, if I want to break it down scientifically for the atheist person who's tuning in, I can. That's why Robert Sposky's book, I haven't read it yet, but it's a good book. I'm sure it is, because he confirms all of that which I've already learned. So when people don't take seriously their mental health, I don't take them seriously. And I won't be doing any of the martyr superior because I ain't your therapist. I didn't want to be a therapist on purpose. I mean, I did want to take psychology in my bachelor's years, but then I got busy with life, and I got a master's in international relations and diplomacy, and by then I'm like, I really want to work. And then I moved into online entrepreneurship, which I love. And so as a content creator, podcast host, mentor who has plans for the future, and you all know it. Be yourself, not me. You, the flow state, amazing. You don't want it, you don't have to have it. Restorative embodiment, it's really cool. And again, I love to be empowering and letting you know that doesn't mean people like me, because what I have noticed, the same way the teenagers didn't like my confidence, a grown-up who's a 16-year-old version of themselves, oh, they won't like me. And it's not Lucifer. If only I had ever seen that monster. He doesn't exist, and I'm a mystic. And I've seen things, and what makes me laugh even more than anything is the fact that those who don't understand what anima mundi is, so we have energy, and anyone who's a mystic will talk about a lot of things from where they come from, what they've done, but they won't know how to talk about that which is the truth with equanimity, calm-centeredness, and discernment. When you see someone getting in the screen and this is my shadow, and they're yelling at you, that's called structural dissociation. Potentially they have dissociative identity disorder and therefore fragmented self. Potentially it's not timeline jumping. No, they lose moments of time and ignore Patrick McNamara, neuroscientist, who explains how the brain heals itself. And that the fear receptor is going wonky, and explains to how our human species has evolved. And when people say, I find it hard to believe that neuroscientists are true, you say nothing in their face, because you actively say, I know that you saw what you saw in the church. I've been to church too. I understand what demonic possession and I'm explaining to you, it's not a demon possessing. This is called, in science's words, Why are you not taking the explanation? You're using this word belief because my cherishable opinions and beliefs are mine. But when it comes to data, it ain't a cherishable belief. It's a data point and more than just one. Okay, so these neuroscientists are neurotheologians. People who like pop bullshit stuff, they still think left and mode, you can be one or the other. And when I hear somebody describing to you the default mode network as if it's, ooh, let me let you in on a fun fact. It's called, right here, you see it. My default mode network does not do anything except for downregulate. I'm not scanning myself and you. Nope, I'm in a room as Maria. My left works with my right, and my left doesn't dominate anything. In fact, my right does. I'm a feelings girl. Which is why if somebody asks, what are you basing it on? It's my gut. That's stupid. Well, I just told you the answer, so I can't lie because I don't want to. I don't need to. I'm a 3-year-old who didn't get shamed in a way of saying the truth. So, and God told me not to lie. I actively can't lie. I know my body gives tells. And here's the fun fact. Oh, I love my body. Okay, so love, we love all equally, and that's because love is a verb, like yourself is a verb. When you're a compassionate mind, which is an integrated brain, 5D, Christ consciousness collective, we forgive for real, not pretend, and we don't need to say it. And actively, the attachment trauma educators have humbled every single one of those of us who do know. It's so sad that fear will continue to exist, but then again, it is part of the expansion of consciousness. So mystics, you'd think they would know by now that soul contracts don't need to be objectified, and that love and fear, they actually come together and make the most amazing of things possible. But that's because they give free will choice. So you get to choose, are you going to be unkind like those little kids that pretended not to have emotions, or are you going to explore the depths of the emotional plane? And to explore it doesn't mean project it. No, it means you have a window welcome to affect and or emotion, so you can talk like a functional adult, bare minimum. But inner child adult, we do the forgiveness thing, and we don't tell it to people like that. As the only reason you would continue saying, I forgave. We talk about it, though, which is where people think that we're holding it on the finger. But it's conversations. This is actively, how am I going to talk about something without words in it? But the point I was trying to get to as I close on out, and I kind of lost that train of thought, was that those who do know love don't back out, and they don't switch it up, and they don't harbor resentment, and they know how to process. So processing simply means that you will feel something. Also, when you learn the basics of emotions last 90 seconds, when you're using your prefrontal cortex as a differentiated self. So the integrated brain, restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person. Yes, resiliency isn't a bummer. It's not hard work. This is not hard for my body to feel things. I just wondered, it would be hard for me to lift up a rock. It's not hard for me to love. It's actually my active makeup. I'm a soul. Yeah. Again, soul is made of pure love. What is spirit? Pure love. What is God? Pure love. Discerning equanimity is part of pure love, because that's where you're going to be with an integrated brain, restorative embodiment. So again, intelligence is way bigger than us, the bigger picture. God always wins. Intelligence, consciousness, I don't need to prove it. I'm of spirit. I do self-help for spiritual and mindful personal development people. This is not something I need to prove. I'm a human myself. If I need to prove anything, science proves there's kindness in every person, except for those who choose to stay charged and go around punishing each other like little assholes. That's why Cusco attitude. I don't find unhealthy boundary people interesting. No, they're actively martyrs to peers and blamers. And when I meet them, they don't know any different. I know that they might not like me, but because I'm a grown-up, they at most will say, I don't like that you didn't take my side. And I'll say, well, I'm sorry, I don't take sides, because actually I didn't think that I should or could or would. Really, I'm not God, and I don't know why you would want me to take your side, because that's not how I'm going to be listening to you. I'm listening. I'm here because I care. Taking your side doesn't mean anything, except for you wanting me to, which again is not something that makes any sense to a person who's a self-agent. Because you're choosing, aren't you? Aren't you consciously aware of what you're choosing? If you feel helpless and vulnerable this way, when you're I'm not gonna always be there. I'm not capable. So self-regulating, this is what I'm showing you. Securely attached and untraumatized people, we self-regulate because we know how to be our own safe haven, secure base. Doesn't mean we don't want others to be around us, but emotional, mature, yes. Empowered masculines, empowered feminines, which, by the way, leads me to, if we have time, I might do some more chit-chat on the love front for our full moon. So fear and love come together because one, fear is part of our human makeup, since the asteroid don't hit us, so it won't ever go away. But those who are children who did not learn love, their fear is what they are actually frozen by. It's very unfortunate. But they have smart therapists out there, the ones who will want to return home to their true self, since their body is consistently, as is their brain, looking to heal. It will be done because the Patrick Tiahan and Terry are out there. Learn to love yourself first will attract those who want that. And those who will come to HP are attracted to actual mental health, because I say actual because nobody who's walking around in their sympathetic and using it on screen is actually interested in mental health, because you're not doing mental health when you're in your sympathetic. You're perpetuating what is a modulated safety behavior, and you're fear mongering other people. No, excuse me, you're just sounding like Braveheart, but you're not Braveheart. In the movies, really, on screen, so like-minded people come together. The ones who are like the flat earthers, they want each other. I saw them as 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, and then I chose my own herd, and I didn't do that. I said, we're not isolating people. We're not putting anyone aside. Nobody is being more important. That's why I got sat down. You can't love all people equally. Yes, I can, and I do. And if you don't understand it, that's not my situation. My situation is that I can explain what a bond is, because that's actively what you build. So true love, when I use it personally, I don't think of tragedy. I think of securely attached and untraumatized, healthy self-worth, self-regulating people, number one. Otherwise, you have no emotional availability to me, nor self-awareness, nor accountability, nor regulation skills. So you need Terry Real or Patrick Tiahan. You're not burning shit except for your visceral, and that's not appealing to anybody who's looking to build life, because I need you to consistently walk and talk and with me, not against me, and not test me like I'm a... When I heard this lady saying the masculine tests you, sure he does. Only the human beings who test each other, which is actively where those prefrontal cortexes are not, because we got trauma time on a wheel, and Tom and Jerry have a good time having fun with that one, because I cannot begin to let you in on fun fact. Patrick Tiahan makes anybody know toxic relationships, plenty of people making them make sense. Yes, I don't actually look at anybody who's in a toxic relationship and say, wow, how amazing. I also mind my own business, because in Italian there's a saying, between husband and wife, don't put the middle of the finger, which means mind your own business, which is fair and square, which is why with the polyamory thing, just FYI, number one, we have different types of groups, between polyamory to solo poly to polyfidelity vessels, remember that, to the one you that poly enough who are not polyamory at all in my book, because that's an insecure person, polygamy people, and then you do have those who put hierarchies, which is horrible. Hierarchy, wow, you are 1, 2, 3, that's just, if you need a number, I'm going to know you need a pat on the back. I will use different ways so that you know it's not about numbers. Actively, no, we want to talk, because that's just like when we make fun with my mom, my sisters and I on who she loves more. That's the same idea. No, I'm not comparing partners to parents, please, no, but I do know where the codependent people are, as they give each other report cards and grades, and they actually punish questions and try to figure shit out instead of just come straight forward and talk. Let's talk it out. Because there's a very specific way that charges work, as they're uncharging in a safe haven, secure-based space, which is what makes passion amazing. And you'll know it when you have an empowered masculine, which is what I love about empowered masculine, FYI, and masculines. Yes, I'm an empowered feminine. So we have fun with the real ones. And then we think, wow, testing each other. Yeah, sure, runner, chaser. Your brain is actively simply using the left mode, and your 1-year-old is not being tended by anybody, and you apparently don't know how to be your own lover. So yeah, of course you're seeking to have someone, and that's not actual freedom, that's bondage, that's misery, that's I want company, not I am looking for the partner of my life, which is instead a life partner which loves. You don't need to be watching your back every minute. That's not a life partner. And with friends, I also don't watch my back. And a two brute just shows me cowards, which my facade friend, I got to learn all about it. And the attachment trauma educators make me know what insecure people do. So again, here we have no insecure people, because we want discerning, good, wise judgment people, so we can talk about politics, religion, all of it, spiritual, all of it, and bring sciences. And there's no contest here. Nobody gets hierarchy. This doesn't exist. Nobody gets on pedestals. We don't do the pedestal business. We do the talking business and walking business, and that's in the restorative embodiment business. And so, with that being said, intellect likes intelligence, and intelligence like emotional maturity, and the pure essence of all of the emotional depth of you is accessible if you have sensations, images, affects, behaviors, and meanings in your prefrontal, which is why if you don't, that's EMDR, child parts work, somatics with Pat Ogden, Janina Fisher, Patrick Tiahan, Terry Real. Once you love yourself first, then you can come back around, because that's when you'll be ready for self-help, spiritual and or mindful, because you will be able to sit in the right mode. So darkness, my old friend, I come to talk to you again. You'll be able to sit in the silence. And it's not a scary silence. It's a silence with your own embodied nervous system anchored in ventral energy. That doesn't mean your secondary human consciousness likes it. No, I don't like darkness and silence when I am waking up from my sleep and I'm like, I don't want to forget my loved ones. I'm a teen, okay? And I read Marcus Aurelius, who says, Maria, why worry about something you can't do about anything about? I was like, you know what, Marcus, you're right. Why don't you build something and do something? And that was it. So when you're an empowered feminine, so you have a good relationship with the depths of your emotional plane, which is in your body, means you know how to use your ventral energy. By the way, it's the ventral vagal state. Your body's resource, not mine alone, yours too. And those who make up stories of why people wouldn't have it, that's people who want a story. So I can be a reminder to every person, and those who don't like me, it's okay. I will know how to be kind, even to my unkind, traumatized, unfortunately charged, who want people to take their side, insecure human beings, because am I not decent enough to be saluted is the perfect example of people that I didn't say you were decent or not. I got rejected at 4. You think I'm still whining about that? I'm not. Actively, she told me, my mother, it's not good or bad. It happens. And I thought every grown-up would know how to handle rejection. I didn't reject them. I actively didn't befriend them. So this is what I have an issue with. I don't pat people on the back. I didn't understand insecurity in the way that I do now. If you have a problem with abandonment, rejection, that means it's your wound. You get it healed, become confident for real, you're going to know a good time with any ego in town. Other than that, I don't have room for the selves that think they're special, because we're all special. And I do feel for my brothers and sisters who won't ever make it to the other side. And they can, because of smart scientists. That's because they're not divisive. When it comes to the smart attachment trauma educators, they know every single one of my brothers and sisters holds kindness here, like Patrick Tiahan, which is why I honor you, Patrick. I know that you tell your community they don't have to forgive, and I honor that, because at least they know how not to project the unkindness that I saw asshole 11-year-olds begin to do, and I didn't understand it. I didn't care to. I just didn't shame me or them, and I said, I'm not choosing that. I choose God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and I don't know what that is. And I'm picking now my herd, because you're all playing things I don't want to play, and it's dangerous, and I want to live. And I want to learn, and I want to thrive. And now that they're grown-ups, there's a lot of them. My gosh, really. You poor unfortunate souls. So sad, but true. What makes me even more upset is that the spiritual bypassers actively make me think of Ursula, but not in a good or bad way, meaning not Ursula. It's just a bunch of people who are playing like when you play house. That's why I use Disney, Pixar. I'm going to use child stories. I got some of them. They continue to look at my, it's dangerous what you're doing, Maria. There's no Lucifer out there, dude. Please, I'm looking in your eyes right now. You know what happens. Those dark eyes means they've used the neuroplasticity to dark sides. They've shut themselves in shame, blame, fault, revenge. That's it. I got a person who needs a therapist. That's all this is. There's nothing except for a poor fucking human being in front of me who's disregarding going to Patrick Tiahan and wants Reiki and wants tarot and wants magical. It's not going to heal your maladaptive patterns of behavior. Nope, not at all. In fact, it won't even heal your arrogant ego, nor will it heal the fact that you have voices in your head that could be healed and talked about in a way that would get you out of what that is. So I don't have happiness when I think of people who are actually suffering in their body, because it's hell. It's called self-loathing, gut wrench, torn apart, and I had a very specific little bit of feeling, yes, of trauma charges. So I know what it feels like, because that was what came forth with the pure essence of fear as I was processing it, and it was like a little shard of glass coming through my heart. But it was okay, and I was able to walk through it, and there you go. So at the end of the day, all I can say is that what we all can do here is be aware that some people know what love is and they're anchored in ventral energy. Others don't. Some people know about this information, others don't. As we keep coming together as people who do care, we won't be liked by all, but we're not trying to be liked. If you're authentically online to make a difference, you are not looking to get pats on the back. You're looking to share, and nobody's perfect with words, so please. I met the egos in my degrees when I was getting my bachelor's and my master's, and I was completely, wow, I thought you wanted to learn things. And then I got older, and again, in my courses, I meet the same people who I thought you wanted to do a difference. And so when I hear charge, I know, wow, the fourth step to healing trauma charges means it's a sensitive topic. You haven't worked through it yet. You want bystanders to take your sides, and like the flat earthers, you go yelling at each other, or basically you just hang out so that you can cheer each other on, and there you go. And so here we are cheering all humanity on, because every one of our brothers and sisters was created by God. They have a soul, they have spirit, they are pure love like we are, but that doesn't mean they all will choose it, because trauma memory and trauma charges and all of that, which is very important, is only going to be healable if they choose compassion. And if they don't, that's because they're not ready to meet the 3-year-old, and that means they're not ready. Which is why we have the it's dangerous to have no emotions, or the lack of imagination for evil people, because some will not choose. Because you will at a certain point be wired shut in your pattern, and it's not too far, no, but like my facade friend. I mean, he didn't hit really rock bottom. He had already hit rock bottom, and then he made a compromise, and he's happy where he's at. So there's other soul age groups. That's all I can say right now for that one. But they all still love, right? So here's where people have different ways that they'll talk to you about love. I'm letting you know that the ventral energy is when you know the oxytocin gene hormone of love in here, and when you see people who don't know love, they will think it's unrequited, that it's suffering, that people won't love each other forever, that polyamory or monoamory cannot coexist, or that we can't coexist, and a lot more. And I will say that we will be continuing these conversations. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back with more. Have a good one.